think this is a trailer. Oh, hey, we're here.
Hi, everybody.
How's it going? Welcome to the Evolve Stage 2 live stream on a wonderful Thursday morning. You know, as we're just chilling, right?
I mean, technically it's afternoon.
Thursday morning.
But it feels like a morning.
It feels like a morning.
I still have the morning's double dose of coffee coursing through my veins.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you could tell. This is me caffeinated. Dear God.
Well,
I'm
watch
Chloe.
it.
This is Corey. And we work here at Turtle Rock Studios, if you don't know already. And if you don't know, where have you been?
Yeah.
We do this every week.
I mean, come on. We've been here for weeks now. It's been 10 weeks. It actually has been that long.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Since stage 2?
No, this would be our 9th.
I'm like, what month is it?
Next week, if we were to do it, it would be the 10th.
I wrote the date today, and I was like, 8 something, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure it's September now. Where does the time go?
You're adjusting, right? It's still that first couple weeks of September, right?
Yeah, I'm also like a little weirded out. I'm on the other side today, so I'm like, it's like a whole different perspective on the room.
We just shifted around.
I know,
to
it's
mess with
literally 2 feet,
Yes.
and it doesn't make a difference. Anyway.
Yeah, a little great intro before we get to the stream.
We do have stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
We have cool stuff, stuff that you guys have been asking for.
Yeah.
Rolly rock type stuff.
Rolly rock
But
type
not
stuff.
beer. We should be drinking Rolling Rocks.
I mean, and then doing like headbanging rock and roll, like
Yes.
all the roll puns we can.
We could have planned this a bit better.
Yeah, you know. All right.
It's fine. It's
okay.
fine.
It's okay.
We're here now.
So yeah, we have quite a few things to talk about.
So yeah, we got stuff coming up. But first, news.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
It is Thursday, which is almost Friday, which is almost the weekend.
And stuff's happening this weekend.
Stuff is happening this weekend.
Pretty sure it is. So actually this weekend, really cool thing, we were able to reach out and start working with the HGL, which is basically a league that's been running tournaments for Evolve.
Hey, what does that stand for?
Helix Gamers League.
Cool.
So there you go. And you're going to be seeing social go out on Evolve Game and Turtle Rock about this, and also we'll be posting links on the forums. I'll be doing a post later today on the forums. So it's like, hey, basically we have a Saturday and a Sunday event. The Saturday event is going to be for basically anyone, right? Like anyone can play in it, and it's more like, let's have fun, let's get used to competitive Evolve, and like let's feel it out. Everyone that plays in that is going to get silver keys, so that's a cool thing. It'll be, I think somewhere in the realm of like 1,000 or 1,500. So we'll see what goes on. I'll be getting all
the website.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Look at it.
So there's
now, if you don't have a team already, can you join as a free agent for this one on Saturday?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Right. So
if you don't have a team yet, definitely check that out. It might be a good place to find people you want to play with.
Yeah. So a big part of this is like, hey, like, you know, we all enjoy playing Evolve, and it's getting together with a team is just kind of like, that's where Evolve really shines, right? And this is kind of the goal, right? Is like, hey, just get some friends together and just see what happens, right? It's supposed to be more fun. We're going to try and get casters to cast the games and just kind of like have a fun day on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
And the other goal of this is it then leads into Sunday, which is more of like, you know, we call it the Pro League, right? Like, and Sunday for us in Evolve has always been like that day of like, this is where the competition is kind of thing. So Sunday will be the more like hardcore guys playing, like NDG, Dildozers, and all those kind of teams. Like, you'll be seeing them playing on Sunday. They might play on Saturday, but if they are, like, they're not going to be on their teams. They're going to, like, I would hope that they would grab other teams and start playing, because, you know, if I see them in those brackets,
yeah, no, Corey will make sure things are fair. People get a fighting chance. Nobody wants pro players coming in on the more chill player day and making people's enjoyment less. So.
Yeah, so basically the goal here for us is to give one place for everyone to go, because, you know, there's one thing that we've seen is a lot of little things have been happening, like people trying to do events here and there, but we want to focus in our efforts in one space, right? And just see what happens, right? Like, you know, I've talked a lot with even 2K and just kind of seeing like, we're going to watch this and just see what happens over the next couple weeks, and then, you know, when it starts in October, like, where do we go from there? Like, how big is this scene grown, right? Yeah. Because that's kind of what we want to watch, right? It's just like, hey, like, let's try something and see how it goes, right? So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff they're going to try to do around this, and Superbad Juju is going to be streaming on Sunday.
Yay.
So if you haven't seen Superbad, you even see his little logo. You see, I'm always used to being on
it's
that way.
above my head.
I was used to being on that side,
know.
right? I was right if I was over there. Oh well. But yeah, so he'll be casting on Sunday. We don't have a caster locked in for Saturday yet, but he might as well be casting that day as well. So we're still kind of figuring that out. But yeah, so definitely be on the lookout for that. Sign up if you want. Start looking for a team, and also in the the thread, once we have that, it'll be there, so you can start adding friends and trying to find like a team. So that'll be up on the forums, and yeah, so that'll be this weekend, and we might be doing more events as we go through. Like, I think this is going to be a weekly thing for us, alongside like any other community event that we do.
So basically, if you like the idea of this and you think that you might want to do it in the future, you should do it now and show us that you like the idea. Because obviously, we're looking at things like this, we're listening to what you guys have to say, and we're going, well, is this a good idea?
Yeah.
Is this something that people want us to do? And obviously, you can tell us that you want to do it by showing your support, by participating, by having fun, and leaving us feedback. If you don't follow us on Twitter and Facebook and all of that, we're Evolve Game pretty much everywhere. So make sure to check that out. If you're watching on Facebook, you probably already have us followed, but if you don't, give us a like there. Follow us on YouTube. We do try to stream to YouTube Gaming, but sometimes it's a little hit and miss. Sorry, I was hearing yelling from outside. I was like, wait, do I need to listen to something? Is something on fire? No, we're good. But sometimes we've been having some issues with YouTube. So if you are watching us there, thank you. And we are trying to make that work for you guys as well. So, follow us.
So yeah, definitely be on the lookout this
News.
weekend. And then also I want to try and get some highlights from the weekend as well to show around after we get that done.
Yeah.
Like talking with the community members, like they're super excited to start this off. So definitely go check out the HDL, and let's have a fun first competitive weekend in September, right?
This is going to be our biggest sort of competitive esporty push since stage 2. So, come on out, show us your support and show us your interest. So the next thing that we have is we've done some work on Elder Kraken.
Yes, we have.
And I'm personally super excited about this because I don't know if I'm just oversensitive, or I think there was an issue, which is why we fixed it, but Elder Kraken was just really overwhelming, right? Like, there was just a lot going on. The effects were beautiful. Like, they did a really great job on those, but it was just kind of like, if you've also got Kyra grenades running around, there's a lot of effects going on, and in our whole push to stage 2, we really wanted to clarify everything, kind of boil things down to their simplest, most readable components so that it's easy to understand what's going on and that information is getting communicated properly in game. So we did a pass on Elder Kraken and we made it a little bit simpler. We kind of gave that same treatment.
That same approach, right? Like, especially with each effect, monster effects especially, you're going to see them a lot, right? Like, so, especially with Elder Kraken, Death Spiral and Lightning Strike were two ones we focus on for this update. We felt the rest of his kit was fine as far as clarity goes, but the Death Spiral especially, like when you were in it, just was crazy, right? It was really hard to just see what was going on.
And was there a knockback on it as well? Because I feel like I was
it had a little bit of
disorienting.
Yeah, like it had a little bit of a screen shake to it, and now like it's a little easier to see through, and you can actually like get what's going on, and it's not going to be so disorienting, right?
Yeah.
Because that was like a hidden.
So that's the new one. The first thing we saw was the last one, and even then, like, I remember it being worse than that. So in the heat of battle, it's just definitely going to feel a little bit more stripped down, a little bit more. Yeah, so there's the first one. There's a lot more going on. But you still, it's still the same feel.
Yeah. Like
you just get a little bit
part of what the new one is, like, you still have this vision around you, right? So when you're in the center of it right away, you can actually like see, okay.
Oh yeah, I still know that's not something I should be standing
exactly, right? So that's kind of the goal, is we get things in their simplest form that we can, and then you move from there, right? Like that's kind of been the goal with all the effect changes, is just like, all right, make it simple, make it readable, and just that's what it is, right? Yeah. And that goes like Death Spiral was the other one, and then we had Lightning Strike, which was a little more subtle, if you just seeing it for the first time, but it was a lot going on.
Yeah, that's intense.
Right? A lot of just goop everywhere and all that craziness, like,
which is a cool effect.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like an elder god is attacking me.
But yeah, like basically it was just like small little tweaks as well, and like this also, like, cleaning this up a bit does help even on like performance, like very little, right? Like but still, like, every little bit counts, and that's kind of like what we look at when we get to do like effects passes like this, is just making it cleaner, making it smoother, and then just pushing it out, right? Like that's kind of the goal, and that's kind of what this whole update, like update 209, which was this last Tuesday or last Wednesday, was about. Was
yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, there you go.
Like, wait, I think I remember what day
Yeah,
it is.
you know, there's days in the
Remember
week.
the coffee comment?
Yeah.
We're both there. We're both there.
But yeah, like so this whole update, and even the next update as well, like it's about, even the rest of the month is focusing in on like, all right, let's start refining and let's like bug fixing. Like bug fixing is a big priority right now. Like just cleaning everything up because a lot went in during Sheer Madness and the month before. Like, and it's a lot of just like reevaluating and then seeing like, all right, where do we need to go? Like, and then even working towards matchmaking even more, and also like a bunch of stuff, right? Like, so this last update was very much like, we even did like a big pass on like the perks as far as like making them for monsters at least. Like, you'd spend silver keys to unlock a perk, and it would be like a much lower value compared to like what the hunters gained, right? As far as like the percentage. And we actually crunched the percentage like together a lot closer. So it's like that first like level of a perk for a monster isn't as like low, right?
Cool.
You can actually like, it's good to have, right? Like it's a good thing. So that was kind of the, we were just looking at everything that we could, right? And that's kind of the next thing. And we also have another thing that we've been looking at and that our community actually has done, which has been on Trello boards. We love those. We love those around here at Turtle Rock. And we actually have the bug reports, which is actually super cool for us, right? Like, basically what this is for anyone that's never seen it, like, we basically log all the bugs here. Yeah, you can like, But yeah, you can see all the bugs that we have and we're looking at. And
bug logged.
Yeah, right? Like, and it's a good way for people in the community to be like, hey, like, I want to know what you guys are working on like the side of bugs. Like, hey, this thing I ran into is really frustrating. Like, are you guys going to do something about it? Have you seen it? Right, so this
we've tried to be as transparent as possible. We know not everybody's on the forums, so if you're not a forums person, but you still really want to know what's going on with bugs, Trello is the place for you.
Yeah.
And we've also got the board that has kind of what we're working on next, so there's some interesting things in there, and if you're always wanting to know what's coming next, if you're impatient for more content, that's a good place to go as well. Yeah,
and especially, now with this month, some people have seen it in the punch card. We've we hinted at him a little bit. He rolls, he spits lava.
He does.
He has like this cool rock wall. Like he does these things.
He does these things.
And
now they work.
Yes. Right. So we'll be talking about him a little later when Tim comes on. But he's going to be coming out sometime this month, which is super exciting for us. And
well, before we get into that anymore, we do have one more thing. We have a special guest.
I almost forgot.
Yeah, don't forget.
Oh.
For those of you who love Bucket,
yes.
Nobody in this studio loves Bucket, I think, as much as our lovely lady au pair, Tara.
Yeah.
We'll see if her hair key's out.
I think it will.
It can only key out less than it did last time.
Oh no, my.
Here.
Yeah,
no, we're good. We're good.
You're good?
I'm way less see-through than I was previously.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, it's so good.
What is this, Tara? Tell us about this.
This is Bucket Fall. He is glorious. So, we're all gamers here, and everyone's been super hyped up about Titanfall, and we had some friends at Respawn who were just like, hey, so here's the deal. We like your game, you like our game, like let's have some fun. And we worked with them to make this glorious hunter skin, but he also has a weapon skin, so you get the set. It's Bucketfall.
Yeah, there you go.
It's really cool.
And he was granted to everyone for free, so everyone has him. You can go play him right now. And he's totally beautiful.
How badass.
Yeah, so everyone will have this skin, both the weapon skin and the hunter.
Yeah, they should have it right now.
Cool.
You can go play it right now.
You should already have this.
Exactly. You should have gotten it yesterday.
There you go.
There you go.
So that is awesome. Because he says when he jumps, to prepare for Bucketfall.
Prepare
right?
for Bucketfall.
And let's be honest,
and now we made it a thing.
That's what started this whole conversation,
really is.
was that line. Right?
We've talked about making the skin for the entire time I've been here. We have talked about making it. So to finally see it happen is amazing. And one of the most exciting things that I think that we've done. I know we've done a lot of stuff. We relaunched the game, did all this other. But look at the skin.
Told you, nobody likes this as much as Tara does.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of cool because Titanfall 2, people have been checking that out already, and people seem to be really stoked about it. I haven't played it myself because I'm terrible at shooters. But yeah.
I think it's cool though, right? Like getting to do this is the industry, right? We get to do cool stuff and collaborate in ways, and this was like a fun little thing for us. That was, it was exciting, right? And we're excited about more stuff to come, right?
We love collaborating with other people. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug something else right now.
Oh, there we go, more plugs.
See that transition?
So there is a game accessibility conference that's coming up. February 27th, and Turtle Rock is officially the first studio to sign up as sponsors for the conference.
Yay!
So we're really excited to be a part of it. I'm like co-chairing it. Shane's our social media lady. Look, I'm a speaker.
Hey, you're
right
there. You have
Look,
different hair there.
I know, all of it's wrong, but we have a great list of speakers lined up. People from Xbox, Sony. It's my bro Ian right there. But we're super excited, and we're like, it's amazing that Turtle Rock, it was the first studio. Like, so far it's the only studio versus like publisher or game accessibility or accessibility generalist to sign up as a sponsor. So I'm really excited to be at a studio that cares as much about accessibility as I do. So
there you go.
that's
Awesome.
all
So
I
check
got.
that out. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Tara.
Hashtag bucket is bang.
You heard it here, guys.
She's very excited about Bucket.
Yeah.
This is among
Perpetually. She'll be really excited for that video we have later.
She's
What?
later. I think it might even be soon.
It is soon, but first,
But first, wait, there's more.
we do have a little bit of Behemoth to talk about before you get rid of me.
We do.
We do.
I
Just
know.
a little bit. Just a little.
It's
And then I'll leave, and you guys can get like super serial about
Super
super serial about what the details are with Behemoth, because I need to listen to that and pay attention because my Behemoth was not good. But I think you guys have made a lot of changes that I'm personally very excited about.
So we finally, are in a place where we can talk about Behemoth and like what's going on with him. So he's basically, a lot of people have been asking for him and like saying, when is he going to come out? And for a lot of our player base, like they actually don't have him unlocked, right?
Right, because it was only founders, because we didn't want to take away something that people already had.
Yeah.
So if you've seen Behemoth played and you've been like, I'm so mad, I really want to play Behemoth, well, we've fixed him before we've given him back to you.
Yeah.
Because we thought that was fair. Like, if you're going to have to learn to play a monster, you might as well learn to play one that is working and feels good. So.
Yeah, part of it for us was like, when you first looked at the monster, like, oh, like his abilities are casting, they're working, like it seems like it's good. But for us, it was, there's like little things here and there that ended up hurting the experience for anyone that played Behemoth, right?
Yeah.
Like Rock Wall was a big one where it was like you would just cast it and then like a pillar in the middle wouldn't appear, and you're just like, well, I have 2 rock slabs. It's not a rock
and you're like,
wall.
I'm trying to use this to block off a hunter, and they can just fly straight through that gap. So it's like, I mean, one thing that Tim said that I'm stealing already.
There you go.
is once you guys got everything working and the code was in and it was these abilities were functioning as they were originally designed, he was suddenly crazy overpowered because the balance had to happen so that like you can kind of compensate for the things that weren't totally working as planned. So you can see that wall looks very different than what you're used to. He's casting it on the side of a building. There are no gaps. It's one piece. Like, that's really cool for me to see because I haven't played this at all yet.
Right? Like that's the thing for us. And what's really cool is now, when you expect like I want a rock wall here, it's going to go right, and it's basically always going to do what you would expect the rock wall to do, right? And for us when we first started, when we first started playing, like. It was just like, man, like this thing is, like, his whole kit just worked and we were just kind of shocked, right? Because the tuning on him from a while ago was made to like, so he was at least, like, he had at least a chance, but now it's like, he worked, right?
Yeah.
And alongside that, we introduced something brand new to him, which was the passive,
Passives.
which is called Living Fortress, which is a cool one for us. And basically what it does is it counteracts like this thing that Behemoth really had a problem with, which was every time like, someone like Torvald or Cabot was in the game, they had a lot of burst damage, and they would just rip through him, right?
Yeah, because he's a huge target. Even if you're terrible at this game, like, you can hit Behemoth because he's enormous.
Yeah, he's
which
huge.
is hard because, if you're trying to dodge damage, if you're trying to be nimble, like, that's just not really his play style, right? He is supposed to be a tank, so this passive makes him more of a tank.
Yeah.
And it also kind of opens the door for passives on other monsters down the road.
So that's the cool thing for us is that this passive we started playing differently as soon as we got it into the state that it was, like tuning it, and then we're starting to reevaluate like how we pick into him, how we play into him. Like we would basically, because you'll see his armor basically start glowing and become brighter, right?
Yeah,
like,
I think we have a
I believe
video.
we do. If not in this segment, at least in the next, right?
Oh,
yeah,
there it is.
I think, yeah, you get to see it here. But you'll start, yeah, there you go. As soon as he starts getting more stacks of Living Fortress, you start to see him get like this darker, like lava-y, just like to show that, hey, something's going on, right? Like he's tankier, he's resisting more damage, right? And basically what this does is like when you see that, right, you can kind of play around it and plan your burst. Like, you know, if you're Torvald, right, and you're playing with Cabot and you see full DR going on like that, like you're like, okay.
You're not going to waste your damage
then
because
let's wait till it wears off and then go damage amp mortar, right? So there's little things like that we really enjoyed. And I think it also helps make it across the board, you know, a lot easier for more people to play.
Because the focus is to make something that low-level people can play and higher tier people can actually find competitive and fun and really utilize. Because I think Behemoth's been a bit of a controversial character for a long time. So, you know, we wanted to really make him a player and make him competitive. So this should go towards that.
That was kind of the goal, right? Is just making him work across all levels, and this was a cool way for us to bring him in, and also just making his abilities consistent, right? Like for me, like I'm not going to play a monster that doesn't have consistent abilities or consistent damage, right? Like I want something that I know works and I'm comfortable with, right?
Yeah. Well, if you land a tongue grab and the visual effect shows that you did it and it doesn't pull, you're going to be really frustrated.
Yes.
So that is another thing that is going to be much more consistent now. And even like as long as most of the person is showing or something.
Yeah, basically as soon as like if you have your little aimer, it'll also now like start lighting up whenever you actually have a target within the actual reticle. But once you like pull someone, right, like you go to do the animation, if a good portion of them is in it, like they're going to get grabbed, right?
So that's the visual tell is great for lower level players because they're going to be able to see more readily what's actually going to land and what's not. And for higher level players, that consistency is going to mean that they can nail those skill shots over and over again.
Yeah, because this is like, we were talking about this, but his tongue grab is unlike most abilities and like monster abilities in our game, right? Like the way it works compared to like an AoE ability on other monsters or even on the rest of his kit, right? Like it's a very complex ability, right? Yeah. And this is something like, it took a lot of time to refine it, and then like that's why like this whole thing has taken a long time to just refine, but now for us there's a lot of little things that have gone on, like the lava bomb now can be like, you can aim it during the cast, like rock throw on Goliath, which is a big feeling thing, right? It feels much better to use that ability. Fissure is much more consistent now. It took away all the times where it would like fizzle out and just disappear on cast, which was like a big deal for us. And then even like the rock wall, like we said, making it just work, right? Like that was all part of it. And then even like the one of the most important things was like the traversal, right? The traversal feels much better to use.
Yeah,
right?
That's one of the things that made me rage the hardest, I think, is just rolling and it just not feeling right.
Yeah.
So
I think your reaction as soon as you're like, yeah, the traversal.
Yeah, no, it was like, I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on it. We do have a badge giveaway real quick, because I know we have a timetable to keep here. But do we have a picture?
Oh, there we go. Nice little Behemoth badge.
But I think it's the teal version of this, right?
I believe so. So it's a version.
It's exclamation point Rollin'
R-O-L-L-I-N.
with no G. Don't put a G in there. But just imagine this in teal, and it'll be beautiful. So exclamation point Rollin' in chat right now to win one of those. And yeah, so we're really excited about this. It's been something that we've been working on for a while. We had so much to put out during Sheer Madness. It was really great that the guys got a chance to really focus on it, because we wanted to give him that love that he needed, and then give him out to you guys. And so he'll be available in game for, do we know how many keys to unlock?
I don't remember the exact price off the top of my head.
But if you don't have him,
similar to the other monsters,
you can soon unlock him. This will be later this month.
Yeah, it'll be coming in September. So it's in the punch card, and as like one of the rewards, I think it's day 28, I believe.
Yeah. So sometime before the end of the month, if you want to wait and you know that you're going to get that punch card, then you don't have to worry about how many keys he has. The Facebook winner will be awarded after the stream, because we got to treat that a little bit differently than Twitch chat, because Twitch chat, we've got like a bot or something.
Yeah, a
handles
magical
those
bot.
Exclamation points. It's magic. Yeah, sorry, it's magic.
Some cool magic. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so we're gonna actually be going into more detail on like going
Yeah.
in depth into all the Behemoth stuff in the next segment with Tim.
Yep.
And then, so it's all next update will be fun, and then the updates following whenever we get Behemoth into the game, that will be exciting, right? Like that's a big thing for us, and it's among a lot of other things this month, that we started to like look at little things and like, okay, how can we improve them? Like Slim is starting to get his little refactors, we're calling it, where he's actually gaining a new ability. So that'll be fun. Like a lot of little things here and there, and it's fun, right? Like it's fun to start looking at like, hey, like how can we improve the game across the board, and then pushing like the balance and the feeling of the game in a better direction. So, a lot of stuff.
We have a video that we're going to show real quick while I bugger off and am replaced by not another Corey, but in fact Tim. They are two separate people.
Yeah, well, I swear we're two different people. But this next thing is going to be a cool little segment where it's going to be 4 buckets versus Behemoth.
Which should be absolute chaos. So hang out, watch that, and then don't go anywhere because Corey and Tim will be back to talk more details on Behemoth. We'll be right back.
Eliminated.
Oh,
Hey.
we're here. It's myself, Corey, and Tim.
Hey
I
guys.
swear we're not the same person at all.
I know we look kind of similar. People at the studio.
Kind of similar.
Yeah, they're calling us the Macklemore twins right now after Corey's incident with that one stream. But yeah, now I'm getting that flack too.
It's great. Someone else can share my pain.
Yeah,
It's cool. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit more in depth about Behemoth. Behemoth's getting re-released at the end of this month, and You know, he's gotten a whole new refactor. He's got that new Living Fortress passive. Shane, if you could pull that video up, I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about it. There's some definite things to note about it because we are going through all the monsters now and giving them passive abilities. You know, just to kind of like spruce things up.
Yeah.
Can't go into too much in depth about the other monsters, but Behemoth, you know, he's got it's called Living Fortress, and the way it works is that if he takes too much burst damage, he gains a stack of DR, and these stacks will build up to reduce his overall damage taken.
DR is damage resistance, right?
That's
just
right.
To, just to make sure it's clear for everyone.
That's right.
So the cool thing about this, the way it interacts is, you know, kind of what we'll explain a little bit more here is the damage. There's a damage threshold that has to be met before a stack is granted, right?
Yeah.
So basically, if you have a like low damage kind of dot character, like think Renegade Abe, like Wasteland Maggie style, like kind of like this slow, like gradual damage over time, then it's actually not going to grant a stack, right? Like like you said, like the burst damage is where actually the stacks like will break and start giving the threshold like higher and higher, right?
It's kind of like this passive was kind of created to kind of like, you know, you've got like the lower damage characters and the higher damage characters, and to try to like kind of meet them in the middle, like make sure that everyone's on the same playing field against Behemoth. But it is such a strong passive.
Yes.
Like it is. It's so good.
Yeah, it has a lot of instances where you're just like, man, like that, like compared to other monsters, right? Like if you're playing against Goliath and you know you're used to the damage that you'll always be dealing against him, and then you play like you remember old Behemoth, you're like, oh man, we just always shredded him. And then when we first started playing against this, especially when we got into like the final tune of like where the Living Fortress is now, it's like, man, like we had to start kind of planning our fights around the passive, right? Which was a lot of fun for us, and it was cool to see like how it would interact and like what we would have to change different. Like our comps changed, right? Like in how we started playing against him. So
like counterplay like against Behemoth has changed differently. Whereas you used to take characters like Torvald and Sunny, like these really high burst damage characters, because Behemoth is kind of that stationary raid boss-esque monster, and he just stays there. He takes a lot of punishment. That's no longer the case. He can stay there in his spot and do all his abilities, get them out, and not take that punishment that he did before.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the thing, right, for us was finding characters that we could actually survive in that moment, right? Because he basically will take up, like Cliff will play it where he takes up a little area and he just starts throwing out abilities, right? And especially
so hard to deal with.
You're already remembering. You're just like, oh god.
Yeah. When we first fixed Behemoth, like the team here at Turtle Rock, when everyone made everything come together, Cliff got on Behemoth, and like everything was fixed. Like all the ability issues that you would have before, like tongue grab not working, rock wall, like holes in rock wall happening.
Oh yeah, that one
like
was
Shane,
the
if you
worst.
pull up the rock wall video there and show that off, you'll see here that like the slabs now will like appear over the air, whereas before they would try to like kind of go off to the side and form, but these holes would be created, and it was almost like rock wall wasn't working as intended. But now it's always like same consistent ability. You can depend on it in any scenario, and like that ability functioning properly literally changed the game on top of all the other things.
Yeah, like that has always been Behemoth's thing, right? Is using the rock wall to split off the team, right? Like you have a Hank on the other team, right? And you have like a tight corridor, and you're like, all right, no more shields for you, right? You basically deny this character from shielding and block him off from the rest of his team, right? Like, and Cliff will even do this where he'll cast a rock wall, like if you're off in a faraway place, or like even me when I was going in, like it was actually super difficult playing Assault into Behemoth. It always kind of has been, but even more so now because of how consistent Rockwall is. He can just block me off from the rest of the team. And it's like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, I'm Behemoth and myself, Lava Bomb and a Fissure coming my way, and I'm just like, Tim, Lord Death, help!
I
And I'm
know,
just
he's an Assault killer now. He can literally, you have the option to focus anyone on the Hunter team with Behemoth. You can play strategically. Here you can see the combos that you can do with Behemoth. I recommend that you always start with a tongue grab into a lava bomb. I was talking to Guidance about this, the monster player here at the studio, and he says, like, you know, always use tongue grab, follow it up with lava bomb for that consistent damage. You can see the radius on lava bomb is massive now.
Yeah.
And there is a bit of fall off damage, like from the core for the explosion, but that dot from like the radius, it does so much damage.
Yeah.
And then Fisher, and then Cliff or Guidance, he actually fixed Rockwall here so that you can fire at point blank range at your feet now. Whereas before there was like a minimum distance that you had to use.
Yeah.
So now you can like combo everything perfectly exactly how you want it to go.
Yeah, like there's nothing telling you like, oh, you can't do this thing, right? Like it's a lot of, even like with Lava Bomb now, like you can't see it in this clip, but you can actually rotate while you're casting it too. So even if they, like at the last second they dodge, try to dodge out of the Lava Bomb, if you're still in that animation, you can readjust the last second, right? Like you have a little bit more wiggle room before,
so
right?
Good.
And it was such a little change that actually helped him overall, right? Like the consistency of the ability went up, right? Because you would always kind of know what was happening with Lava Bomb before, and you're just like, okay. But now it's like he has so many tools that he didn't have before, right?
Yeah.
And all that combined with the passive just gives him a lot more opportunity to actually fight and succeed, right? Like that was kind of the whole goal is we just wanted him to be a better feeling monster across the board.
Yeah. The perk loadouts that you can do with Behemoth, they're a little bit different also with Behemoth in comparison to some of the other monsters. You can build him a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Because he is that like big tanky character, you can take those damage reduction perks and even scale it up more.
Yeah. So he has a lot of perk options, which I like, right? Like, and I think that's kind of what we like about what the passives give is they help supplement the monster as a whole, like kind of fill that little like thing they were missing, right? Like for Bob, he needed a way to tank more damage, right? And giving him more health wasn't the best solution, right? Like we did that before. He had like super high health, but it just wasn't like for us. It didn't really do much, and then actually at the low level, it made him a lot harder to fight, right? So that's kind of where this passive comes in. And he has pretty much a normal health bar now, but his effective health at like depending on the type of player he's playing against will actually be higher, right? Depending on who it is, right? And how the team is playing. And I think that was the nice little turnout of this passive and this whole rework. And I don't know, it's been nice, right? It's been nice to start playing against him, and now we're super worried whenever we see a Behemoth, right? When we're going into the game, it's like you have to reevaluate how you're playing, especially now, like like you were saying with the perks, like he has so many more options.
Yeah, Shane, if you could bring up the perks right now for everyone to kind of see like how we want to build, like Behemoth right now. Like if you go into the perk selection screen, you'll see like what do I take for tier 1 perks. You'll probably go with like Brawler is like the big thing around here right now. We buffed it just recently. It brought up like his traversal, recharge, and his climb speed. Climb speed's really important to Behemoth. So like, and then you've got that DR also on there at the end. So like those 3 things are really important on Behemoth to make him good. So that we recommend for any new players playing Behemoth as your first tier 1 perk. And then when you go into tier 2, you've got a little bit more variety, cooldown reduction or damage reduction.
Yeah, like these two are like the two that we feel most comfortable with. Like you can run a more offensive oriented build. Like if you're going to be focusing on melee attacks, obviously taking like stuff like Grounder and Venomous Claws and stuff like that.
That stuff works too.
Yeah, like
really potent also.
Yeah, but really the CDR perks for him are just what like Cliff started running that, and he would tell us like, yeah, I'm running CDR right now, guys, so just be ready, right? Like. Because Behemoth really benefits a lot from just being able to cast those abilities continuously and start manipulating the field, right? Like that's kind of his whole idea is he's manipulating the hunters, moving them out of position with Tongue Grab, and then breaking them off from the team with Rockwall, right? And it's super cool to watch like Guidance do his thing now on it and just start like there were a lot of times where we just got frustrated, right? Because it was something we're not used to, right? Like I think when people first play against Behemoth, they're gonna be like, there's gonna be a little bit of like, man, he's actually like performing, right? He's actually doing what he was supposed to do.
Behemoth is no joke now. I know the initial release of him was a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
But he is definitely a viable monster. You guys can look forward to playing him at like a high tier now. He's viable at any tier, not just like that lower tier that kind of has been overwhelming the lower skilled ceiling players, but he's viable on all fronts now.
Yeah.
He's great. His traversal also.
Oh yes, that's actually a big one.
Yeah, his traversal got fixed.
Oh god, yeah. So I think the traversal just when Ben, the programmer that got to do this, like when I went over to his computer and he was like, "Hey, come look at this," I'm like, "All right, cool." Like, and I walked over and I went at his desk. I had the biggest smile on my face, right? Because it felt so good to just traverse with Behemoth now, and that was a big thing. Like, I don't think a lot of us realize it, right? But you're always traversing. You're doing something consistent in a game, right? Like, and that can start. If it's not super clean or super like enjoyable to use, it actually starts wearing on you, right? It becomes frustrating, right?
Yeah.
And this now it reacts like you would expect, right? You can move like side to side, you can reverse, right? Like you can just it's like, oh, okay, I want to hold the S key and go backwards. You can do that. You don't have to look, right?
Yeah.
Like that was super cool, and plus he just turns super quick.
One of the biggest issues was we call it roaching here.
Yeah.
It's a term that was coined here by the Evolve players.
Mm-hmm.
It's say you've got like a pillar that's got some pretty tight corners to it, and most people will try to like circle kite around it for the monster. Behemoth had a really difficult time trying to like cut off hunters and like get to them. That's no longer an issue now with the traversal. You can roll around those corners very easily and just like knock the hunters away. Lava bomb, rock wall are also great tools.
Yeah.
So he's really an unstoppable force right now.
he feels great, and that's kind of been the whole thing, right? Like going to the passive, the traversal, like it's a whole system of, like to make the monster work, right? Like it's a whole like this thing needs to work, this thing needs to work, all of it needs to work together, right? And that's kind of where his kit has landed, right? Like you have everything's reliable, right? And I think that for me is the biggest thing, like especially when playing against him, it's an exciting thing, right? Because Behemoth, like for me, has always been that one monster. I'm like. And especially watching people play him for the first time and see him, they were always
he's so fun to play.
Yeah, he's just always been.
He's so fun.
Like there's a reason why he's like one of our favorites, right? And for me, I could always play against him and be happy, right? It's
when Evolve first came out, like I was like, oh, I want to fight against these raid boss monsters, And Behemoth was like the embodiment of that experience. And now he truly is that raid boss. He is so hard. We actually had to nerf him, like when everything started functioning again, we got into the playtest and we're like, this is way too strong. Like everything works, like, oh my gosh, he's so good.
Because his cooldowns were a lot lower back then too, so it's like everything was just coming up super quick and it was just all like working, right? So it was a lot of fun for us to see that, all the hard work from the team, outside of the balance team, like all the code work and everything else done was like, they nailed it, right? So it was really exciting for us to see that and then like, start working at it and seeing where he's going to be when he launches, right? Like that'll be exciting for us when he comes out later this month, and you just start seeing our community play him and then getting feedback on him. And it's like for a lot of people this is going to be the first monster release, right? Like they actually haven't got to play a new monster. And Behemoth, I think for a lot of people has been that one. I get the question all the time, when is Behemoth coming out?
I know,
when is it?
I know. And we really want him to come out. We had to get it right, and it's right now.
Yeah, no, so we're super excited.
He's in this place that he needs to be.
Yeah, and once we have more information on the release date and when he's coming out, I'm sure everyone will know and be. We'll make sure everyone is aware, right? Because I think for us, we're just like, okay, please, let's get it out. Like
I know we're really eager to get more monster content out to everyone, and like just the passive abilities alone, like. I was in the design room with Brandon, Gentleman Squirrel, and some of the programmers, and we were talking about some of the other stuff that we're going to do with other monsters to kind of help separate their identities from each other. And there's some really cool stuff planned.
Yeah, like I think it's cool for us. Like this Behemoth like rework, right? It's kind of led to something else for the other monsters, right? Like it, for Wraith is going to be the next one we're kind of setting our sights on. And it's like looking at her and seeing like where can we improve her kit and like where are her little things like that she needs to be moved in a different direction and like where are we going to put her after that, right? Like I think giving a monster a passive does so much, and it also allows us to create fun experiences for everyone, right? Like that's kind of the goal with it is give something new, give something fresh, and it's like all right, now you're thinking in a different way that you never thought before playing against a monster, right? And that I think for us is the best way to give monsters that extra little edge, and also make something that has a good feeling across the board, right? Yeah. It's not just simply a number change, right? It's a like this is a functionality, this is a new design, right? Like that's where I think we get really excited about like the monster passives, all that kind of stuff.
We're gonna move into like a bit of a Q&A segment right now, so people can ask us questions. We'll answer them from the design and balance team, and like hopefully some of like you guys have questions about Behemoth, and we won't be able to answer so much questions about future content. Like maybe vaguely, but I want to talk to you guys about all the cool stuff that's planned. Because it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, well, like we've already kind of on our Trello board, like we've talked about Kraken getting a new ability, and that kind of led into like, okay, let's just kind of look at his whole kit.
Kraken,
yeah, right. Like it's one for us. Like Elder Kraken is definitely shining. Like he's performing, he's doing well, and he has a lot of tools at his disposal. But Kraken, on the other hand, has a lot of the weird things that Behemoth kind of found himself in as well, where it's like at the low level, like Banshee Mines especially, like do really well against players down there, right? And just from when you're new to the game, like Banshee Mines are just super difficult. And then when you get to the high level, you basically just have one person shooting all of them and they're just not dealing any damage, right?
Yeah.
And that then becomes difficult, right? And then even Aftershock is an ability that a lot of players don't even take anymore, right? It's just because of the whole kit. Like they want to stay in the air, they want to like stay away from the fight, and that's kind of been one thing where it's like, all right, like let's reevaluate what Aftershock is, like what it does for the whole kit, and then kind of go from there, right? And then it's led into like more, right? Like, okay, we're just going to keep exploring this new, like, where do we need to put Kraken from here? And then that's kind of the same thing that happened to Wraith with the decoy change. Like, we basically had the decoy change. We're like, we could do a lot more than this and kind of just work it all into one whole, like, let's just refine the whole kit of Wraith.
Definitely.
For stage 2, because I think every monster, like, Goliath definitely has his stuff together, right? Both Meteor and himself. Like, we spent a lot of time on them at the start of stage 2, right? When you originally came down here, like focusing on like having the rotating in air and all these other little things that just made Goliath feel better.
Quality of life changes. Yeah.
And I think like that's kind of the thing we want to do for every monster, right? Because that's one thing we want monster to be an enjoyable experience, and also we want it to be fun to fight monsters, right?
Definitely.
Like, that's basically the name of the game, right? So we want to make sure that every monster experience is enjoyable and having fun fighting them, right?
Yeah. In case anyone has questions for us, you'll have to throw it into the chat there for us.
Yeah, make sure you do @EvolveGame. That way they can see it and they can start grabbing it and send us little questions. Because we have about like 10 minutes or so to answer some stuff. We always like having an open chat with the community. So.
So VelJKO 2003 asks, do we have any plans on fixing Wraith?
Yeah, so I think with Wraith, like we already kind of talked about it a little bit, but she has like basically Supernova decoy, and then we have a planned passive that we're starting to investigate.
We also just refactored decoy. It's no longer called decoy.
Yeah.
It's called Phantom.
Yeah, so when it does launch with the new ability and Phantom like is in the game, that'll be what it's called. And there's a little tease out there for people, but basically what it will do is it'll be a much more consistent ability. You'll see it like it'll have that feedback, like you know where it's going to go, and it's going to target a character and go after them, right? And also for us as well, like when we first launched decoy, like a lot of people would use it in scenarios that we didn't really want, right? So this has a lot more like designed in things to make it more fun for everyone to use and play against, and also have a lot more feedback, like to see like what the health is of it, and how many more attacks does it have left before it's going to dissipate. Like a lot of things that are super important for us. And then just like looking at her whole kit, like Supernova as well. Lord Death has been working on that, and he has a much better version that I'm excited to start playtesting and getting into the game eventually, and then once we investigate the passive a little further and see where that goes. So.
I think a lot of people have been asking also, and this ties into like, are we going to fix Wraith? Like that play style of sneaking. I know we're definitely aware of like that dynamic being not quite as prominent now with the planet scan ability. I know that's a really hot issue for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But like we're coming up with ways to try to incorporate that ability to have that extra level of play in there for monster players, and like the Wraith passive ability that's like we're thinking of doing like kind of factors into that a little bit, but not in a frustrating way, in a way that like is really positive. So are we fixing Wraith? Damn right.
Yeah, damn right we are. So So just while we're on Wraith, there was another question by Forbidden User. Will Wraith decoy equip your current skins? No, it will always have the dark-looking Phantom style skin that's actually in the game now.
Yes.
And
it is no longer decoy. It is Phantom.
Yeah.
I was playing live just yesterday and saw. I was like, it's called Phantom now. I can talk about that.
Yeah. So we have that, and then it'll have its further refactor once we do the whole relaunch of Wraith.
So there'll be there'll be a health bar added on to Phantom now so you will never get confused between the monster and the Phantom. So will decoy work with current skins? No, it's being refactored. You're supposed to be able to know the difference between the two. That's the direction we're going with that.
All right. And I have a question for you, Tim, from Dark Castellez. Will Living Fortress stack
Dark
with
Castles.
Castles. Oh, wow. I mean, I'm just going to not talk.
It's okay.
Will Living Fortress stack with DR perks?
Yeah, it stacks. It's crazy. You don't just have to take DR, because I mean, if you take DR perks, you're really not going to have that kind of offensive power that you might want, but you do become super tanky.
Yeah,
and that's something we're going to kind of keep our eyes closely on, because that's something that can get out of control if we don't monitor it.
Yeah, that's another thing for us too, right? It's just kind of watching how he interacts with the passive. I mean, it's very easy for us to say okay, this interaction doesn't need to be there anymore, or change something. So, yeah, that's something we'll have our eyes on. And then that furry dragon has a question about Behemoth's tongue grab. Lights up. When there's a target, will Wraith receive something similar for abduction? I believe we've actually done this for the Wraith refactor already.
Yeah. That is going to have kind of actually in Phantom has Phantom and Abduct have a highlight over the target now, so you can see that you are going to land that ability.
Yeah. So it's just kind of giving more information across the whole team, right? Even the monster has more information, but the hunters as well know what's going on and can easily understand hey, this ability is doing something, right? And also you can see who it's focusing, right? That's a big thing for the whole playing against Wraith. So.
Yeah, for sure. Axe Laser asks, how will Gorgon's passive work? I don't see any traversal coming in or something else. We're not allowed to talk about the new passives for the other monsters quite yet until it gets through the stream here.
Yeah.
But the moment we're allowed to,
you'll know about it.
We will tell you.
Yeah, I think Gorgon will be a little later as far as the other monsters. I definitely think Wraith and Kraken are our next focus, and then kind of evaluating where we need to go, and then obviously balancing Behemoth as he goes out, and watching anything with him, and then also looking